영상이 시작되기 전에 먼저 등장할 5개의 문장을 보여드릴게요. 빈칸에 들어갈 표현을 유추해보세요. 단어 하나하나를 직역하지 않고 전체 의미에 맞게 의역하고자 노력합니다. 그게 바로 영어식 사고의 출발이에요. 그럼 시작해볼까요?
You try and force that flower without enough groundwork. You try to summarize an article, and you immediately hit walls. You notice the gaps. It's all about sharpening precision, clarity, nuance. These ratios, they're guides, not rigid rules.
Okay, so I know something that really trips a lot of you up. It's that classic dilemma, right?
Yeah.
Should I just bury myself in listening and reading, just absorb everything, or jump straight into speaking, trying to use even just a couple of sentences right away?
Yeah, that's the big one. The constant push and pull.
Exactly. And finding that balance between building up knowledge and actually using it. That's what we're focusing on today in this guide, the magic of listening.
Mm-hmm. And what the research really points to is, well, there's no single magic number.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one size fits all.
Okay.
The balance, it has to change depending on where you are in your learning journey. But there's one fundamental truth we can't ignore.
Which is?
Input listening and reading, that's your soil and water. Output speaking and writing, that's the flower. You try and force that flower without enough groundwork.
It's not going to thrive.
Exactly. It'll be weak or, it might just wither completely.
Makes sense. So let's maybe unpack this across the different stages. Beginner, intermediate, advanced, starting right at square one, the beginner stage. You're saying input is basically everything.
Pretty much. At this point, your brain just craves a huge amount of comprehensible input.
Comprehensible meaning?
Meaning stuff you can mostly understand, but that pushes you just a tiny bit. Think about kids, right? They listen for months, sometimes years, before they really start talking properly.
Yeah, that's true.
If you skip that heavy listening phase, trying to speak feels, well, forced. It's stressful.
So what's the ratio look like then, roughly?
We're talking maybe 80% input, 20% output, and that output is super low pressure.
Like what?
Like repeating phrases you hear, answering simple yes-no questions, maybe retelling one tiny fact. Nothing that requires complex thought or organization, just getting sounds out.
Okay, 80-20 for beginners. Then we move into the intermediate stage. Input's still the fuel, obviously, but output starts playing a bigger role.
A crucial role, but in a different way. This is where it gets quite interesting, actually. Output trying to speak or write becomes like a diagnostic tool. You try to summarize an article or explain something to a friend.
And you immediately hit walls.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You suddenly realize, oh, I don't have the word for that. Or, that sentence structure feels clunky. You notice the gaps.
Ah, okay. And noticing those gaps pushes you to learn more.
It's the best motivator. It sends you right back to input, but now you're looking for specific things. So the ratio shifts. Maybe closer to 60% input, 40% output.
And the output tasks get more demanding.
Definitely. Things like comparing 2 points of view, explaining an idea in your own words, summarizing a short video, tasks that force you to organize the information you've taken in.
Right, solidifying it. Okay, so what about when you're advanced? You understand most things, you've got a solid base. What's the focus then? Does input become less important?
Less important? No, never. But the focus shifts. At the advanced level, it's all about sharpening precision, clarity, nuance.
So like essays, debates, presentations.
Exactly. High stakes output, where getting it just right really matters. And that's why the ratio kind of flips. We're looking more at 40% input, 60% output. Feedback on that output becomes vital for refining things.
But you're saying input still matters even then?
Absolutely critical. Here's the caveat. Input never stops being essential. If you stop reading, stop listening to diverse, challenging material.
Your output gets stale.
Totally. Yeah. It starts sounding repetitive, maybe even outdated. You need that constant stream of fresh vocabulary, new styles, different ways of phrasing things. Advanced output needs continuous, targeted input to stay sharp.
Okay, so summing it all up for everyone listening, beginners, it's overwhelmingly input first. Build that foundation. 80-20. Intermediates. Start ramping up output to find your weak spots and organize thoughts, but keep that input high.
Yeah, around 60-40, output diagnoses, input cures.
And advanced learners, you lead with output for precision, but you absolutely must keep fueling it with consistent quality input.
Around 40-60, but never zero input.
So these ratios, they're guides, not rigid rules.
Exactly. They're about matching your effort to your stage to avoid frustration. But the one non-negotiable, the moment you stop listening and reading consistently,
Your speaking and writing stop improving.
that's the bottom line. Growth stops.
Right. So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. Knowing your rough ratio is helpful, sure. But what's one small, specific input source? Maybe it's a challenging article, a specific type of podcast, a news broadcast. What can you commit to starting today to make sure that output you're working so hard on never ever runs dry?
영어와 시사 경제 두 마리 토끼를 한 번에 잡는 알찬 시간 되셨다면 구독과 좋아요를 꾹 눌러주세요. 감사합니다.